So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the lab. And so today, I wanted to discuss about Jupiter. Okay, understanding certain concepts of Jupiter that may not make sense when you kind of look at it from the outside. From the outside, it just feels like, how can this be true? But once you actually start understanding the dynamics, then you understand why Jupiter is you. Okay? Because, for example, in Nadi texts, Jupiter is always used as the ascendant, always used as the Lagna. And even if you don't use it as the ascendant, meaning wherever your Jupiter is, you make that the ascendant. But regardless of, even if you use the ascendant, your actual regular ascendant, whether you're Aries, Capricorn, Pisces, Virgo, doesn't matter. You're still going to pay attention to Jupiter. As the native, as the individual, as the Jataka, the Jiva Atma. Okay? The Jiva Atma. Now, why is this that Nadi gave Jupiter this significance that, hey, you're going to represent us. You're going to represent us. Why? Because if you just look at this map behind me. So, of course, here's the sun, right? And then I've tried my best to put it in a perspective where Mercury is the smallest planet, then you have Venus, then you have a sister planet, Earth, then you have Mars, then you have Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, the 7 bodies that we use in the physical bodies, grahas, that we use in Vedic astrology. So if you pay attention to Jupiter here, look at the size of Jupiter compared to the rest of the planets, including with the sun. Okay, so Sun and Jupiter have the two of the most significant position. Sun is naturally the giver of the light, the one who gave birth to the entire solar system. Okay, in a way, this is actually, you can say this is Vishnu, the creator of everything. The reason why Jupiter is used as us, first of all, it shows us that we are the Jiva Atma, because it's the significator of the Jiva, the living thing, the living being. Okay? So, Jupiter is that. But then also what happens is, Jupiter has this gravitational force. Okay? It has the strongest of the gravitational force of the grahas. And so what happens is, within a chart, wherever Jupiter is placed, that part of the chart has the most gravity to it. Meaning, for example, if I was to, let's say, draw a chart here, okay? Let's say if I was to draw a chart in this 3D perspective. Let's say it was your 3D perspective chart. And let's say Jupiter was sitting here. You will see this particular house kind of collapsed into itself. It's kind of like there's this pull from underneath. Okay, there's this dent, there's this curve upon the surface of the entire chart where, let's say, you have Saturn here, you have Venus, Mercury, Sun here, you've got Moon here, okay? You've got Rahu, Ketu axis here, you've got Mars here. But Jupiter is the one that shows it's pulling something in. It is the heavy one. This is why Jupiter in Jyotish is also known as the heavy one, the one who has the most gravitational pull. And Jupiter is kind of like always pulling all the small physical planets besides the sun to itself. And then Sun is trying to pull all the planets to itself. And this particular placement of Sun and Jupiter keeps everything in motion. Now, Sun is the soul. Why is it that Sun doesn't have the gravitational pull. In a birth chart, of course, it has the most massive gravitational pull. Otherwise, we wouldn't be even here. We wouldn't exist. But the thing is, it is the soul which is untouchable and unreachable. You know whenever you look at a chart of a normal individual, Jupiter has the most gravitational pull. When you look at chart of a saint, an enlightened being, now what is happening is you're using Sun as their Jiva then. Why? Because they have finally went to that point of the soul. Why? Because they burned all the karmas of the Sun. Because Sun is soul. It's the soul significator. But do you know what your soul is? Can you just describe me what a soul is? In a comment? What is a soul? Have you seen a soul? Have you felt a soul? 99.99999% will always describe something like soul is this, soul is that. It is the reason why we're here. No. Have you ever met the soul? Okay, you're just meeting whatever you have registered in the past 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of your life through your senses. That's all you. That is the only thing that is you. You still don't know the soul. Because if you were to put in a different circumstances, you'll become a different person. If you put you in a completely different culture, completely different country, you'll be a completely different person. But that particular soul that is, they say is here, that you reach through higher super consciousness, that is this. And it's that this is the hardest thing to reach because it's so hot. Only when you are able to, in a way, leave the body, you understand the soul. So this is why we can't just use this for everybody. We use Jupiter and its gravitational pull because this is where your entire focus of you is going to be. Because if this is the chart of your karma, well, whoever has the heaviest, well, that is going to be always surrounding you. Okay? Whether it's, you can call it your Anname Kosha, your Maname Kosha, your Dhaname Kosha. Okay? It's always going to be this first. This is why Jupiter is important. Now, the question becomes, well, Jupiter, okay, so let's go to this chart. Jupiter will be, let's say for example, this is Aries, which is going to enter this year by April. So we'll make this a normal, regular Aries ascendant chart. These are the 12 houses and the zodiac sign respectively put into their own place. But you will say, well, Jupiter is going to be in this sign for 1 year, more or less, depending upon his retrogression. So how can everybody in that one whole year will be represented by Jupiter? Well, there is a definite theory in astrology that individuals are born in batches. You know how you graduate? You have batches of accountants being graduating, IAS officer graduating, software engineers graduating. You see what is happening in nature happens here. We use unconsciously that concept of nature here. Meaning in 1 year, 300 students together are graduating as software engineers, masters in science, bachelors in finance, right? So what would you say, well, how can everybody just graduate with the finance degree in 1 year? How could that be possible? Well, it is possible. It happens every year. During the graduation time, group of people leave. So like, for example, you can think of university as the astral plane, Pitraloka, where all the souls are just there, studying and working out their karmas. And then they get a chance to burn the karmas, which means now in the astral plane, they have graduated to come back into this planet, meaning the doors are now open and all the souls go, who are supposed to have that particular degree in their hand. Whether is computer science, whether it's biology, whether it's law, philosophy, all the batches are going together. So it's happening. Then you have batches where, well, we have a batch of people being born in Sun or Jupiter in Aries. Okay, so everybody go into this section. So let's say 60 million souls go into this one section of Jupiter in Aries that are to be born. Then, whether it's Yama, whatever the energy is now selecting that, okay, whoever has Jupiter in Aries and Sun in Leo go into that section. Then from 60 million, 5 million will go there. Now they will say, whoever has Jupiter in Aries, Sun in Scorpio, you go into that section C. Then you'll see 8 million souls going into that platform, ready to take off. This is how things are being divided in batches. And again, will everybody behave the same? Well, this is why you and I are here connecting. Because everybody here, me and you, and thousands of people who are watching this, love astrology. Well, how can so many people together love astrology? Well, because they were born with a certain batch of karma to be attracted to this occult sciences. Now, even then, okay, this is a 1-year Jupiter, right? Well, I'm sorry, within 3 days, within 2 days, within a single day, 2 people will be very different. And I'm not talking about the ascendant and the divisional chart. I'm looking at Jupiter only at this particular time. Only looking at Jupiter at this particular time. So you're born, okay, let's say today is March 5th, okay, 2023. A batch of soul are being born today with moon in Purva Falguni. And moon is 5th from Jupiter. Then perhaps in a couple of days, you'll have batches of people being born with moon in Hasta Nakshatra. Now this is making a complete big difference. Then you can have in a week or so, moon being born in Capricorn, regardless whatever the nakshatra it is. We're not even going to go into nakshatra. That's something for later on. But just within days, you're seeing the difference of why this Jupiter is going to be different from this one, including, okay, why in a batch of this 1 year, there's going to be a different section, okay, of someone having Mars here, Mars here, Mars here, Mars here. So just from 2 planets, we have completely seen a complete different dynamic of this particular chart. Ascendant is the same. Let's say even the degree of the ascendant is the same. We're looking at all the charts with the same ascendant degree. Okay. And Jupiter is in the Lagna. So within that year, you're having all of these placements, okay, come about. You will have Sun here, Sun here, Sun here. Then you will have, of course, Saturn here. Okay? Saturn can go retrograde while Saturn is here. These are the differentiation between each Jiva Atma, the Jiva Jataka, you and me. Why is this different? So we can go back. Okay. For example, if we just take these two positions of the moon, okay, moon, it's a little too thick here, is the mother. One of the significations, mother, right? Mother. So now what? You're in the same batch as this Jupiter in Aries. But what happens now? This individual receives full support of their mother. This person receives 25% of the support from the mother. They will feel like they weren't supported by the mother so much. Now, whatever the circumstances of the mother is, that's another thing. Perhaps mother was dealing with her health issues and could not give you the time she needed. Mother had to work and struggle to make ends meet and pay the bills. She couldn't meet your needs and to nourish you during your prime years of growing up. And this one is receiving it. So now, once we see this, we can see how this Jupiter is going to operate. We're going to see how Jupiter in Aries is going to operate. Meaning, for this individual, this person in Aries would have more of a side of protecting the mother. Right? Because Aries is a sign ruled by Mars. Mars is a soldier. Soldier is safety and protection protocol. That's the first thing. The person feels like because of the way my mother has nourished me, I'm going to protect my mother at all cost. Then on the same end, we can see that this person becomes extremely determined and focused towards their goal because mind and Jupiter are now, both are combined. They're both combined. What the mind thinks, Jupiter is ready to take the action. The mind says, I need to become an IS officer and I'm not gonna rest until I do. And this Jupiter is gonna be like, okay, I'm on it. I'm gonna go for that. Now, whether your 4th Lord and 10th Lord are in relationship or not, that's a different thing. At least if this is not an IS officer, they'll end up becoming an IPS officer. That achievement is there. This is the first thing. Now you see Moon in the 6th house in Virgo. Because of that lack of support, what happens with this particular Jupiter now? So we are done with this, okay? We're done with this particular Jupiter. We're going on to this one. Same thing, Aries, protection, security. But guess what? This person is going to look out for themselves first. They're going to look out for themselves first because of the lack of nourishment, the actual support, the initial first spark of support, which is the mother, which is not there. They will always feel like if that was not there, who else is going to be there to protect me or to look after me? I need to look out after myself. So now you're looking at a more stubborn, bit of a selfish, and impulsive Jupiter. They're gonna take action without suggestion because of the fact they grew up without the initial support. We're not even looking at the father. That's a secondary thing. Mother is the one. Mother, you were in the mother's womb, accumulating and arranging your karmas. So now this is a different Jupiter. So within that 1 year of batch, with that same sign, we're not even caring about the nakshatra. That's not even in my mind right now. But just by knowing that Jupiter is in Aries from 1 degree to 29.59 degrees, it's in Aries, we know that there's going to be a whole lot of difference. Whole lot of difference. For example, okay, we'll go back. We have this Jupiter. We'll put Sun in the 12th. Okay? Or, yeah, let's just put Sun in the 12th. Now, when Jupiter is having Sun 12th from itself, or let's say the other batch of Jupiter, one person had Sun here, the other person had Sun there. So what is happening with this Nadi concept of Jupiter? Jupiter has taken on the essence of this particular Sun. Because you need to imagine that this Jupiter, okay, crossed over Sun. It crossed over Sun. So first of all, the person will have natural confidence, natural leadership quality, natural piety. They will love visiting the temples, love visiting ashram, especially in India. This person could be a great devotee of Shiva. Okay? So this is something they naturally have come through their past life sanskars. You can tell this person, you're the worst person, you're a horrible person, you don't do anything correctly. Okay? You're short. You're ugly, but guess what? This particular Jupiter is going to be like, okay, I guess you're having a bad day. What else? What can I do for you to make your day better? Now, let's go back. Now, let's look at this particular Jupiter. Jupiter, this particular person now with Sun, so we're no longer looking at this particular Sun. We're now looking at this particular Sun. Now what's happening is there are lessons that have to be learned before Jupiter goes over this Sun, okay, and goes here. Meaning, this is a person that's going to show a lot of arrogance, short temper. They're going to get agitated if you put them down. Why? Because they haven't discovered themselves yet. So in the initial stages, let's say maybe, we will probably say the third round of Jupiter is when this person will actually find their maturity. Because of the progressed Jupiter. If you don't know, don't worry about it. Let's just say later on in life, in their 20s, they understand that, you know what? I can't just, get ticked off just because somebody said I'm not good looking or I'm short, okay? Or I'm not meant to be successful. I'm not doing anything perfectly. But right now, they can get their ego hurt. They can get their self-esteem hurt. Because this Jupiter has not seen the complete essence of the Sun. So they're approaching the Sun. They're like, yes, I have ego. Show me my ego. And in the middle, approaching the Sun, there are all these little barriers that are cutting this Jupiter off. Trying to teach it a lesson. Okay? And so once the lesson learned, now you will see this Jupiter after later in years, when you meet them in their late 20s, okay, and you say something to them, They may not even react. They'll just keep drinking their drink, their tea. And I'm like, so how is it going? Why? Because they have learned that particular lesson. And of course, because of this Jupiter approaching Sun, this is an individual who really wants to gain respect. Why? Because Sun is the king. Sun has to attain respect. Sun has to have something in their possession that makes them the king, right? So this person is actually going to be more adamant about government related work where they can be a C-level person, meaning CEO, CFO, CTO. They're going to look for that so they can find themselves. So they can be like, I achieved this, I need this. This is a particular Jupiter. So this Jupiter that we had with Sun 12th from itself, this person could just be okay working as an administrative assistant for throughout their life, and they'll be most confident person. They don't need to have high titles and accolades in their life to show themselves like, hey, I'm something. Because they will realize that me even going towards becoming something, I'm nothing. Because as you know, I've said it before, if you really look at it, okay, where were you before your mother and father conceived you? You're only here because mother and father conceived you, and that single cell became 2 cells, then 3 cells, then 10,000 cells, then 10 billion cells, then 3 trillion cells. And then you came. Right? So who are you? What makes you think that you're this, and that? You were nothing before your parents even came together. And because of this, okay, because of understanding that you're nothing, this zero-ness, this is where this person actually understands that part. That whether you, it's kind of like that song of Amitabh Bachchan, right? Where he's in an orphanage and then he's on a stage and he's like, if I knew that people were going to give me so much respect and put these garlands on my neck, make me look like something big and special, I wouldn't have even come. That is this particular person, Jupiter and Sun. This is more Jupiter and Sun is more so Amitabh Bachchan of Zanjeer. I have car, I have a home, I have money. What do you have? I got all of these things, right? That famous dialogue of Amitabh Bachchan. That's this particular Jupiter. But eventually, this Jupiter also learns its lesson. Everybody has to go through their ego breaks. The breaks is the process of going here. So this is why, this is just a one very simple, example of how this Jupiter will differentiate versus somebody else's Jupiter. Okay. For example, let's say for example, you had Mars here. Okay. Let's say you had Mars here. What you will see, the child is born, right? Most of the time now, a child is born in a hospital. I can't even write this. Now, so it's just child is born in a hospital. Then from the hospital, they're introduced to the family in the home. Okay. And then one may actually also have Mars here. So when you have Mars, because you're coming into the home, this is actually the home as well, where you were brought into. So your first home and the home that you will spend the longest life in will be near a place where they will have a electric transformer or an electric grid right next to your home. Right next to your, meaning like you can see it from your window. Like there's an electrical city plant right there. When you have Jupiter in the fourth, Mars in the fourth from Jupiter, you will have a home with exposed bricks. You may be raised in a home, especially because of Mars being in Cancer, a home that was kind of deteriorating. And also in India, you can even say, if you're in South, you can have a Kartikeya or Narasimha temple. In North, usually you'll find Temple of Hanuman within the walking vicinity of the person. Not in cars, because if you're going to use cars, then every single temple and place will be there. Within the walking distance of a person, you will have that. And there's many more significance, meaning here, Cancer, Mars, right? So Mars is at its lower state. So one thing you will see that in home, the home that you were in would have issues of termites. Or there would be an exposed ant hill right next to your own home. There's many of these significance. Especially if, let's say, Ketu was here actually. If Mars was with Ketu, that ant hill issue will be there because ants are small. Mars in Nadi represents ant hills. And it becomes bothersome because Mars is in its Neech Rashi, and Ketu is in the north direction instead of being in a southern direction. Because Ketu is a south node. So it's directly opposite to its energy. This is how we're understanding Jupiter. So this year, when you see Jupiter for 1 year, okay, one thing you should always pay attention to is this. Sun and Jupiter. Jiva Atma. Okay? Atma, the soul, and Jiva. So Jiva Atma. This is who we truly are. We're here to understand the soul, but right now we're in the living form. So if you're going to understand even the yearly transit of Jupiter, you'll have to understand where Sun transits. Okay, throughout the year, to understand how you, as the Jiva, is going to experience things. So this means that you can have an Aries sign here and your Jupiter could be here. Okay? And then your Sun could be transiting here, okay, in February of 2024. Here then you can see that this individual receives support from the bosses, from the higher up managers. Where if Sun, let's say, was here in Taurus, while Jupiter is in Libra, Sun was transiting here. Okay, now we can see that this person will feel lack of confidence during that time period because of the fact Sun goes into the 8th from Jupiter. So all the individuals, okay, this person is going to feel lack of confidence because of some financial issue. If, let's say, Sun was in the 11th house, okay, so let's say we'll make it Taurus here. Sun is here, okay, and then Jupiter is transiting into the 4th house. Now for this particular individual, so we'll make this Libra. So in a way, then this becomes a Cancer ascendant. So if Jupiter, actually I apologize. Jupiter's not going to be here. Hold on. So if Jupiter is here, even I'm confused. Well, again, I'm confused. Jupiter is here. See, I gotta make a whole new chart so I don't confuse myself. So yeah, for Cancer, this would be Aries, this would be Taurus. Jupiter is here, Sun then transits here for a Cancer ascendant person. Here now they receive support of their elder sibling. Here they will receive support of organization. Part of their desire that they were hoping for somehow starts manifesting. So whatever the Jupiter is in Aries, you look at the soul. What's the karmic cycle the soul is going through? Because soul is burning the karmas off. Soul does not care what you're dealing with. It's like, yes, take it. Take this, burn it off because I need to go to God. The one that suffers is this physical being, the Jupiter, us. This is how you want to understand the yearly transit from here on out. And we can go through every single planet, how Rahu Ketu will affect this Jupiter. So if somebody is born now in April, Jupiter in Aries with Rahu, okay, and Ketu here, versus when Rahu is going to be here and Ketu is going to be here in Virgo, right? This is Pisces. I know I'm just changing ascendant back and forth. I know it's confusing. But this Jupiter for 1 year, this is a whole different batch versus this batch. And I can explain this too. It's going to take another half an hour just to explain just this Jupiter Rahu in Aries. But I am going to start showing this on my academy maybe later down in this year. I mean, you will understand astrology beautifully. You will be like, do I even need nakshatras? Well, nakshatras add a whole another beautiful layer in this concept of nadi. All right. So hopefully you guys have gotten this. And remember, I've uploaded videos on KRS vlogs on Magha Vedic Astrology Academy regarding predicting without the ascendant. So I'm going to cover the level 2 part D today or tomorrow. Okay, and then I have to make other videos as well in that same, in the same series. All right, so please make sure you go and join that. And in that same academy, I'm going to be showing this part, the magic, the beauty, the simple. Once you know this, you will probably clear out all the astrology books on your cabinet. You will just, it's like the lotus will, the 1,000-petal lotus of Jyotish can blossom here. All right, so anyway, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.